where you at in your career right now? Like, are you still auditioning, or are you like, I don't got time to audition, or are you like, I'll just go create my own stuff? Like, where are you at when it comes to that?
Let me say this, and this is seeing it on the other side now, because for years I just sat on the writer side of the audition process, and I could give actors advice on that. I think the big advice would just be yourself, as the character. Like, whatever version of that character is you, be that, because even if you don't get that part, you might, they'll remember you. They'll be like, yo, so-and-so was good. He wasn't good. He wasn't, the janitor, whatever that is. He wasn't that, but maybe we can make him, something else, so always be yourself. Damn, I just blanked. Well, I was answering a question.
I was saying, goddamn.
It's about acting.
No, dude, are you still auditioning?
Oh, yes. Okay, so.
Are you like, fuck
about
auditioning?
No, here's the good news. As somebody who used to always have to audition, after a while, people see your work, and just recently, a Peacock show was just like, hey, we don't have to audition. This is an offer to play this kind of character on an episode. It's a wonderful thing to hear, because then you don't have any of that nervousness of auditioning. You're just like, oh, right. they know my stuff, they like it, I'm gonna go ahead and play this part. That said, you can be really famous in this industry, and depending on the size of the role, you might still have to audition. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've made some friends now, and they're like, yeah, I'm going in for this Marvel movie, I'm going in like, when you're going in for really big stuff, or like love interest is a part you almost always have to try out for, because people got to know what your energy is like in the room and whether y'all vibe and stuff like that. Auditioning never goes away.
Right.
But yes, as you get more known, you will get more offers to just show up on set that day.
Is there any place where you want to develop films, or are you like, I'm going to just stick to TV?
No, I mean, like right now, Bashir and I are doing our TV work with Warner Brothers Studio, and it's a studio, so we can sell a Warner Brothers project to Netflix, to Amazon, like anywhere.
That's amazing.
So that part is cool. Like if you get one of these big deals in Netflix, you can't take a Netflix show to HBO. So I think we're happy to be at Warner Brothers. On the feature side, we have a deal in place with Paramount. So we have to show all of our movie ideas to Paramount first. If they pass, then we can take them elsewhere. But, I grew up seeing those stars around the mountain.
Yeah.
And, at the top of every Indiana Jones film. So
yeah, Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, exactly.
Eddie Murphy, I know. Yeah.
Transformers, G.I. Joe. I told him I want to reboot the G.I. Joe series.
Ooh, I would love that.
I would love it. I think that I actually grew up loving the cartoon. And I think that what people don't realize, those G.I. Joe cartoons were really well written.
Absolutely.
They were really well written. So I think the next the next G.I. Joe franchise should actually embrace the cartoon like it's the comic book.
Yeah.
And use the characterizations and even some of the storylines, if they have the rights, use some of the storylines to build out a world that's already kind of there. Use the cartoon like a comic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know they gonna let you do that, right?
They already got some people assigned. But,
for real?
But I think if they drop the ball, then we'll be able to slide in there.
Yeah, bro. Because y'all are like the fucking black, like Chris Miller and Phil Lord. You know what I'm saying?
I love Lord and Miller. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but just like that dynamic duo, like that comedic team that's like getting stuff done out here in Hollywood right now.
I hope so, man. I mean, like, again, I'm troubled by the fact that I feel like Southside is really taken off. I feel like so many people have discovered Southside.
I watched it when it was on Comedy Central.
Bruh, thank you.
Yeah.
You and 99,000 of your cousins.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, man, I love that song.
I think that, the goal is just to get our material out there to more people. So, right now, as we are continuing to unroll seasons of Sherman's and Southside, we got another generation of shows coming. We're working with Marlon on a new show.
Man, I can't wait to see that. That's the show that I feel like Marlon needs.
It's gonna be a different kind of show. It's not gonna be a sitcom. Yeah. It's gonna be about Marlon's real life. And we just turned in some work to the network on it, and I think that it's beautiful, man. It's a lovely show. Right. It's got some serious moments and some real moments, and it's also got some really funny sort of Curb Your Enthusiasm moments. I think that what people need to realize is that Marlon is still absolutely that dude who killed it acting-wise in Requiem for a Dream.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that, this show is going to allow him to play so many different levels. I just, I'm praying for dude to get the show, not because I'm attached to it, but because I want people to know, how dope, the vision for the show that Marlon has. And last thing I'll say about Marlon is that of all the people I've met in this industry, nobody has been more... I mean, it's crazy because he's a crazy dude.
Right.
But nobody's been more normal.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? Nobody's been more grounded, and sort of like, I don't know if humble's the word, but like he's not an egomaniac.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying? It's so easy to get the money and the accolades and then just turn into a crazy egomaniac. That's not him. And that's why I continue to work with him, because I just think him, and by the way, Brisha, Essence, all the people in that cast, like, you know, we're just all still family because they're all just good people.
Yeah, man, he's one of the first A-listers, and that's when I realized that the A-listers are the nicer than the B and C listers. Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Man, I work with some A-listers. I'm like, I don't never want to see that person in the room again. I'm sorry.
Who? No, I'm joking. Man, we about to get out of here. I have like one last question. I'm trying to see what was the question. IP ownership.
Yes. Intellectual property.
That's right.
We talk a lot about it in this business, because that is what's going to hopefully feed your grandkids one day.
Yeah.
When you're a grandparent, that's you know, if you can be somebody who actually creates something that means something 20 years from now, or people are still watching it, you know, like that's real power.
Yeah. So in y'all with Southside and Sherman Showcase, do y'all own any type of like points or
we own points?
Yeah,
we own points.
Yeah.
I mean.
And is that something you're working towards, to like just own your content like a
Straight
Tyler
out?
Perry? Yeah.
Wow, that's a great question. I don't know that I have a great answer to it. You know, there's some intellectual property that you're willing to part with. Well, let me state this, because people always think, they don't own their own intellectual property. They got taken. They're paying you for your intellectual property.
Right. I'm living in this big ass house because they're paying me for my services.
Like, you know, people are always like, I want to own the property, but I want somebody to pay me to write the script. That's not what they're paying you for. When they pay you to write the script, they own that property. Now, there are ways to get around somebody, but you got to realize you're not going to get paid in a way to necessarily pay your bills. It's just, you know, listen, if you feel like you have an idea that's so golden that you can somehow get it made, maybe just from independent money, go for it. Yeah. But even the people giving you the independent money, even if you work out a deal where, I'm just thinking, thinking on the fly here. If you found somebody who had, let's say, $5 million, and you were like, I can make this movie for $5 million, and I will return, you know, the $5 million to you because we're going to make that in theaters. I will give you $6 million. You got to give them some incentive. You can't just give them the money back. Right. I'll give you $6 million if you give me $5 million today. And then somehow you work it out with your bank or Bitcoin or something where like you pay them back the $6 million, but the idea is now yours for perpetuity. I guess it could work. That's not really how our business works. A couple of, I think the better idea, if you really thought you could make a movie for $5 million that a lot of people would go and see, you would be probably wise to find some of that independent money and then take it to a film festival where it will get sold to a major distributor like a Paramount, or nowadays, like if it's in the horror film, A24 does a lot of horror, and I'm getting really in the weeds, but I'm trying to map this out for somebody. Then you could, because like if your $5 million movie sells for $30 million, you're going to get a big chunk of that.
That's a lot of money coming back.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, yeah. And I mean, like, to go back to Marlon, he couldn't find a studio that wanted to make Scary Movie.
Damn.
So
Scary Movie or a Haunted House?
Is it Scary Movie or Haunted House? It might be Haunted House.
The newer one, right?
Yeah, the newer one. It's Haunted House. My bad.
That's
I'm glad you corrected that. He couldn't find somebody to make Haunted House. He found some investors who were willing to let him keep a large portion of that. So when Haunted House blew up, Marlon made a lot of money, but
he bought that new house he got.
bought maybe more than one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Marlon had already had decades of studios and companies and, basically paying him his fee, his hourly fee. And, so he didn't come into it as an unknown quantity.
Right.
So that's the business side of it. I think I was saying during the last break that I would love to listen to a podcast that from people who know what they're talking about. I don't want to listen to people who never made a movie talk about, but like people talking about like what are some out of the box ways to start your own company. Like, Tyler Perry, I know we all were laughing for a couple of years like, oh man, I don't like those movies, but like, I mean, he's accomplished something extraordinary.
Yeah.
Say whatever you will creatively about his movies. He's probably the only black man in the business who doesn't have to get a green light from somebody else. He can just do it. And that is real power. He bought up Fort McPherson, which is by my old house in Atlanta. And when I was a kid, it was just a vacant, abandoned sort of, old, I think it was an Air Force base or something like that. And he turned it into a movie studio. So, you know, there's a lot of power in being able to green light yourself. But I think for the rest of us, for now, if you're just a person who has a vision for a movie or a TV show, let them pay you, and you will get, because of the hard work of our unions and our guilds, you will get a portion. You just may not get 30%. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Right.
You know, you can negotiate that. If you hire a decent lawyer, you can negotiate what percentage you get.
I still get residuals from Key and Peele. I did a few sketches on Key and
Bruh,
Peele.
residuals. Shout out to the guild. I still get residuals on Marlon, and you never know when those checks are going to show up. But when they do,